It's time for Screen Junkies Movie Fights.
Oh, what in the world? It's Movie Fights. What's going on, guys? I am all about today's fight. It is exciting. We've got combatants who are ready to throw down. You know what? Let's dive right in. First, you know this guy. He is Movie MANTZ. He is the king of movie release dates.
He is your father.
Yes, he is my biological father, Scott MANTZ. Welcome to the party, pal.
Thanks so much. It is so great to be here with this extremely great-looking group of panelists and hosts. Clearly, you get your good looks from your father.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Sitting next to Scott MANTZ. We're all about that. Hashtag FYFFE life over here. You know, from the Schmodown and Pencils and Parsecs on Hyper RPG. Please welcome Emma Fyffe.
Thanks for having me today, Hal. It's great to be here. And, you know, Scott MANTZ told me before this fight that, you know, every other day he is, but today he is not Fight for Life. So
every other day
there's gonna be a fight, is what I'm saying.
You know what?
Fight for life.
Fight for life.
Friendships are torn asunder.
It's true.
Brothers and sisters facing off. We have one more combatant sitting next to Emma. He's the host of the Only Stupid Answers podcast.
Yes.
Welcome back to the party, DJ
Thanks for
Woolridge.
having me. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get into a little Infinity War action. There's going to be just lots of fun, great questions. And those questions, these battles, will be decided by myself and our two other judges that are right over there on the Dan cam. Dan Merle, holding it down.
How's it going?
Dan, are you ready to get factual?
I'm always ready to get factual.
Yeah. Nice. Great.
Very factual response.
Yeah, and Dan, you are one of our judges. You will be weighing in with your opinion based on what?
Based on the facts, Hal. I listen to the arguments, I process them, I weed out the BS, and I make the call.
Thank you, sir.
Put arguments in, facts come out.
Yep.
And right there, we have the internet's sweetheart, Danielle Radford. Danielle, so you are a conduit for the people. Why don't you tell us how that works?
I am you. So the way this works is that for the first 3 rounds, we are going to have a poll. There are really fun fan polls on Twitter. Those ain't our polls. Our polls are on YouTube, and if you want to know how they work, go down, hit the description, expand. It will tell you everything you need to know. But also know that we do not put the polls up until every fighter has given their answer, because we don't want people picking before they've heard the arguments.
Based on the arguments, not the picks.
Nope.
The arguments.
Based on the ability to debate. And so we come into play if there's a tie, or if both of these lovely gentlemen pick someone different and we need someone to come in. That's our job. That's when we come. And I'll still be checking in just so we can see your opinion on the fights, even if it doesn't count as an official vote. I will also be checking for all sick and dank memes.
Yeah.
I think as of last week, we can also add puppets. Felted friends. So
They're not puppets. They don't like that term.
no, they don't like it.
Yes. You really took an affinity, took a real liking to those puppets.
They're so cute.
Yeah. I mean, you I've never seen someone, not since Scott MANTZ saw La La Land, has anyone loved anything so much.
That didn't even come from me, ladies and gentlemen. I was not the one who brought up La La Land. My son brought it up.
Yes. Thankfully, this movie fight will probably be La La Land free.
Maybe not.
And again, this is a best of 7 contest. The first player to get 4 answers awarded to them, 4 points, wins the day. There are 3 regular round questions and 4 speed round questions. If after 3 questions we are tied 1-1-1, we got tiebreakers. Don't worry. So, combatants, are you ready?
Ready.
We are ready to rock and roll.
JTE, drop that sick-ass package.
Prepare to die. Ladies and gentlemen. No. It's main event time. Finish him! Yes!
JTE, your package is sick AF. All right. Oh, I mean, this is a doozy question right off the bat. I mean, you know what? Let's save this question for third. You know what? Oh, it's in my ear.
listen it
We
up.
can't.
Already.
We can't.
Oh,
okay.
oh, okay.
Here's
All right.
what a good question.
Damn.
Now that we've all seen the movie, what character is the Infinity War MVP? Who's the most valuable player of the Avengers Infinity War? And Scott Mantz, you are sitting right here to my left. You're going first.
Okay. Clearly, the MVP of Avengers Infinity War, the 19th movie in the MCU, the 19th straight #1 opening for the MCU. Perfect way to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the MCU that started with Iron Man back in May of 2008. Movie release dates. The MVP here is not Iron Man. The MVP is Dr. Stephen Strange, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, and here's why. First of all, Benedict Cumberbatch seemed to have more fun and was more confident playing Doctor Strange in Infinity War than he was in his own movie. You could tell that he was more comfortable, that he got the role, that he was having more fun with it. But with all these characters in Avengers Infinity War, you got the Avengers, you got Spider-Man, you got the Guardians of the Galaxy, you got everyone except the X-Men and the Fantastic Four yet. That could change. But Dr. Stephen Strange, his confidence was infectious. He stole the show even from Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, who always, I mean, he's like the king of Marvel. And Benedict Cumberbatch he was badass. He pulled rabbits out of his hat. He had his magical powers, his mystical powers, seemed to be more effective and more powerful than any might that any of the Avengers had, whether it was Thor, whether it was Iron Man himself. He had a few surprises with his cloak, and that scene near the end, spoiler alert, I mean, if you didn't see the movie, you shouldn't be listening to this fight.
You're the one. You're the one that
So
didn't see
we're going
it.
to move forward here. Spoilers here, but when he multiplied himself with his arms and all the different Doctor Stranges, like here's a movie that is full of actions, full of special effects, and everybody was blown away by that moment.
All right. Scott Mantz says Doctor Strange. By the way, watch out for someone if they tell you they have a surprise for you in their cloak. Emma.
All right, listen, I see what you're saying with Doctor Strange as far as the Avengers go, but the real star and the MVP of the movie Infinity War is clearly Thanos. The movie is about Thanos. It's about his quest to collect all of the Infinity Stones, which he does. He is the only character who 100% accomplishes the goal that he actually set out to do at the beginning of the film. On top of that, we all know that Marvel kind of has a villain problem. A lot of the times, their villains are kind of like hulking, lifeless shells. They're sort of disembodied forces of evil, and this was not the case with Thanos. And this is a credit to the Russo brothers and their ability to make you really understand every single character's point of view. If you look at Thanos in this film, watching it, it is very clear that from his perspective, Thanos is the hero of his story and the Avengers are the antagonists towards him, which is a huge feat to pull off with any villain. I'm not saying that it makes him sympathetic by any means. He's still totally crazy. But again, you understand his thinking. It is cold, hard logic, but yeah, he came from a planet that let itself get destroyed by being overpopulated. So logically, it does. It makes sense to wipe out half of the population. Therefore, you double your resources and increase your chance of survival. So from my perspective, the movie is really about Thanos, and Thanos is the one who ultimately emerges victorious at the end of Infinity War.
Ooh, big spoiler right there. All right, Emma going with...
We gave the warning. We gave the warning.
Emma going with...
It's
come on,
been
it's
2
been 2
weeks,
weeks.
and everybody's seen it. If you wanted to see it, you've seen it.
That's true. That's true.
DJ, let's hear from you.
Listen, I think we can all agree that Avengers Infinity War is a fantastic adventure ride. It is full of fun and excitement. It's got interesting themes. It's got interesting characters. However, because it has so much of everything, one area that it cuts some corners, that it doesn't really quite... None of the characters really have a character arc. They don't start one way and a different person. They haven't grown. They may have learned some stuff, but they haven't grown except for one. One character achieves that honor in this movie, and that is Teen Groot. He starts off the movie just kind of an annoying teenager, obsessed with his video game, not really paying attention to anything around him, and through his adventures with Thor, with Rocket, he learns the value of self-sacrifice, the value of taking on responsibility, and he's in the fight with everybody at the end. I think Doctor Strange has some great, fantastic
Yes, he does.
moments, and it definitely is Thanos. Thanos is the central character, if anybody, but these characters don't change by the end of the movie. The events may change them in Avengers 4, some more than others, but Groot is the one character in this movie that I feel confident I can say has an arc in this movie, changes throughout this movie, is a different character by the end of the movie.
All right, one vote for Team Groot right there. Folks, fight it out.
Okay, fighting it out here. First of all, okay, yeah, I mean, it's easy to say Thanos is the MVP because he's the villain.
Right.
But it's because he is the villain. Strike one, that does not make him an MVP. Strike two is that he's a major character, such a major character that as much as I thought that Josh Brolin was very good, he didn't surprise me. He was what I expected, a badass villain who had the might and the personality to take on the Avengers.
Right.
And for the movie to end the way it did. It didn't surprise me. I did not expect Doctor Strange, a character from like the phase 2, from phase 2 or phase 3, I lost track of the phases. I did not expect Doctor Strange to steal the movie, to take the biggest chance of all, to save Iron Man by giving Thanos the time stone.
But does that make any sense?
It made a whole lot of sense. He took a risk. And maybe he chanced wrong.
Right.
Maybe he chanced right because he can't see the future. He can see a lot more than everyone else can see. He was the standout here. And baby, what is it? Teen Groot?
Teen Groot.
Teen Groot. I lost track of the
Team
Groot.
Groot,
Yeah.
and I think we can say Man Groot by the end.
But-
he grows.
but-
He
but-
grows.
I mean, I don't remember the...
Yeah.
I mean,
Was he bar mitzvah?
Sort of.
He takes on Thor's hammer. He helps Thor gain his hammer. He joins the fight because again, Doctor Strange is great, but he's a glorified light show.
Sure.
And again,
Disagree.
And Thanos, the theme of the movie is couched in what's going on with him, but he doesn't. He wants something. He struggles to get it. He gets it. That's a plot line. That's not a character arc.
But I disagree with you because I think with Thanos, and first of all, I wanted to bring up, Scott, you were not surprised that Black Panther and Spider-Man like vanished into nothingness at the end of this movie, really?
Oh no, I was surprised.
I wasn't.
See, there you go.
I was,
So
but that wasn't from a character trait or a character change in Thanos' arc. It was what everything that had to do with Thanos was expected.
I disagree because I think that Thanos was presented in such a way in the beginning of the film that you were kind of led to believe this is just intergalactic, badass, has no feelings, going to just destroy everything without any consideration for any human life at all. And then that scene with him and Gamora and the Soul Stone, again, spoilers.
You knew what you're getting into.
You knew what you're getting into. Okay, so first of all, mercilessly kills Loki at the beginning of the film. That just stuck me right in the heart. And that was and that's the thing, is I understand that, yes, we're going to have an Infinity War Part 2, but in terms of this being a first part of a film, it took a lot of big risks, and it did a lot of that through Thanos, through killing off half of the characters at the end of the film, and particularly that scene with him and Gamora. In some ways, if, spoilers, Gamora comes back in the next film, it almost cheapens that really emotional moment that the two of them have. She thinks that she has the upper hand, and going into it, you truly believe that she's right. I went into it thinking he doesn't care about anything, and then they share that look and that moment of realization. Whether it's character development or not, it's certainly a huge revelation that has insane repercussions on the rest of the film.
To the audience.
Yes.
It's a revelation to the audience, but it's not a revelation to Thanos. I
Sure.
don't think Thanos
Okay.
and Doctor Strange
I agree.
are
Okay.
changed from the events
But
of these movies.
but let's go back to you talking about to your point about Thanos being predictable and your point about Groot having a character arc. That is the character arc of every teenage character that is a good teenage character in a film. Is it starts off with, I'm a teenager, I just want to play my video games and be alone and not help anybody out, and then they learn through their interactions with others and seeing the heroism around them.
So is it, you're saying it's worse to have a character arc that we've seen before than having no character arc at all?
I'm saying that just to Scott's point about things being predictable, I would agree if Groot had some huge revelation character, but that's again it's an argument of we're arguing about a film that has 3 third acts, frankly.
Groot was cute. Groot was cute. You know, everybody loves to see the Groot. Okay, fine. But that doesn't make him an MVP.
Sure.
He wasn't a standout enough character, central enough to the stakes and the plot and the end result of the film to stand out as an MVP. What Doctor Strange did by giving Thanos back the stone to save Iron Man, and Iron Man was like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
I mean, because he took a risk, he took a chance.
Sure.
His stake in the movie, Doctor Strange's stake in the film was bigger than anyone else's stake because of the end result of what happened. Wait,
Okay.
and up to that point, he was funny, he was confident, he displayed powers
Okay.
that we had not yet seen before.
Scott, go ahead and make these your final thoughts.
And in the end, you know, when you get to the end of the film and he multiplies himself the way he did, you know, this is a film where you could have had battle damage by the end of the movie. People were still blown away. Doctor Strange stole this movie even from Iron Man, and that makes him the MVP of Avengers Infinity War.
Okay. I understand, Scott, what you're saying in terms of the importance of Doctor Strange in this movie and him giving the time stone to Thanos. However, that ultimately makes him the MVP of Avengers Infinity War Part 2 because he's the one who ensured that that happened. But that is not the question we're dealing with. We're looking at who is the MVP of the movie Infinity War that we saw, and it is absolutely Thanos' film because he is the person who set out to accomplish what he had established to do at the beginning of the film. Got the gauntlet, get all the Infinity Stones. Once I have it, I have the power to snap my fingers, make half the population go away. I mean, he does it. Thanos wins.
That was a solid snap, by the way. I want to point
Thank you,
that out.
thank you.
I think it feels like what we're arguing here is the most important cog or gear in a clock. Like this one is the one that makes the gears move the best, and that's plot. That's not character. Character should be something that grows and evolves and changes. And these characters have grown, evolved, and changed a lot over these 19 movies, but not a lot in this movie. Even Thanos, because again, he wants something and he gets the thing. And with Groot, we have a character. That's what makes him not just a character, but the MVP, because he actually grows and changes, unlike any other character in the movie.
Thank you, DJ, and that is time. Wow. Wow. A lot of good stuff there. A lot of good stuff. Dan Merle, what's going on with the facts?
Pretty factually sound. I mean, very opinion-based. I didn't see anything that really contradicted events in the movie, so very much just me listening and trying to formulate my own opinion on these arguments, because they were three very strong arguments.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, this was quite a throwdown. Each three very different characters from the movie. You know what? I'll say it right now. Third place goes to DJ with King Groot. I couldn't. Your specific definition of the character that changed the most makes him the MVP. That didn't quite compute for me, and I think Scott said it in the close to the end that he didn't factor enough into the overall film. That being said, you made me appreciate Teen Groot just a little bit more, but I can't call him the MVP. And more so than the clock, it's just like who drives the movie, and I think MVP. So it came down to these two for me, and this, you know, I don't even want to choose because you both really threw down, but so I didn't. There were a lot of takedowns attempted at Emma, but I feel like she thwarted them the same way Thanos tried to thwart all the takedowns of him in the movie. The villain can't be the MVP? Who says? Yeah. No surprise? Who cares? It's who drove the movie. And I think Emma really nailed the points of solving the villain problem, his story coming to fruition, and she won me over. Emma gets the point from me. Dan.
Ooh, very difficult. I have to agree. I'm sorry. If it had been who has the best arc in the movie, then I think DJ had a very strong argument.
Yes.
When we're talking MVP, I had to eliminate DJ.
Yeah.
It also came down to me between Emma and Scott. And you're right. These are two very, very tough arguments to differentiate between. For me, it came down to looking at the question, MVP, the most valuable player of Infinity War. And even then, you know, they both made such great cases. I think just barely, I think it might have been Scott for me, just because he made the point of the fact that he exceeded the expectation from his own movie, the role that he played in the overall conflict as well, that he outshone other characters that were on the screen. It's literally like 50-50 for me. If I could give you both the point, I would, but I'm going to tilt ever so slightly towards Scott because these are two great arguments, and it's really tough to choose between
I can't
both of them.
fault you for that.
Yeah.
And it's fitting that it comes down to the fans to decide, Danielle.
Alrighty, well, looking at the polls, there is a very clear winner. We have got Thanos at 54%, with Doctor Strange at 35%, and Teen Groot at 9%. Which I do want to say, that character arc argument, that was a good one, Deej.
Hey,
I liked it.
we can't all pick Thanos.
Were there any other fun answers from the peanut gallery?
There were. First of all, the people are loving your Four Horsemen shirt. Bow.
Yo, Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard. Yeah.
No.
Nobody loving the Beatles shirt? No.
Everyone expects a Beatles shirt. No one expects Four Horsemen. For question number 1, we immediately got Buster Bluth, we got Tobias Funke, who apparently is in the background of
Yeah. When
the
they're-
scene when they're in the collectors.
Yes.
So if you're looking for the part where it says, like, Arrested Development characters courtesy of blah, 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 why do I keep saying Buster? Thomas Funke is in the background blue, and so someone picked him.
It's when they're sneaking up on Thanos. He's behind Gamora.
Yeah, so thank you, Fast Dave 17. CONORK 312 says the true MVP of Infinity War is Wong. Shows up, kicks butt, and gets to chill for the rest of the movie on a couch.
I mean,
Protecting the sanctum.
Yeah.
Yes.
Protecting Okay.
Didn't they just steal your most valuable thing? Yeah, but I
Yeah,
gotta.
that's
There's too many people here already. I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, I'm going to go chill at the sanctum.
My anxiety is flaring up,
Yeah,
so I
I
just need
need
to
to-
head back to the sanctum really quick.
That guy was cutting cars in half with his brain. I'm out of here.
Good first battle. Emma, you take the point for choosing
Great fight.
purple Bruce Willis.
Great fight.
Doesn't Thanos look like purple Bruce Willis?
kind of, yeah.
Thank
Part
you.
6.
There it
It's
is.
going to come back around later, I think.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Oh boy, we got an exciting new trailer for Mamma Mia 2. Did you guys do
the
trailer
Mamma Mia.
breakdowns of the Mamma Mia trailer?
You know what? I skipped that one.
Right on. We want to know what band should have its music turned into a big movie musical. What band should have its music turned into a big movie musical? And question 2, we'll start with player 2, Emma Fife.
Okay, so when it comes down to you're making a big movie musical, you kind of have two options. And one is to go the high concept route, and the other is to go more the Sing Street route, the pleasant journey. We're actually creating music. It doesn't even necessarily have to be creating music. And there is one band with whom you could absolutely do either one of those things, and that is Duran Duran. They have such a great collection of really fun, catchy, high energy songs that have lyrics that are just vague and confusing enough that you can apply them to whatever sort of life situation you need to create. Again, you can go, I think, either with the sort of high concept musical route, because my goodness, guys, if you have seen that music video for Wild Boys, like, that is a movie unto itself.
1985.
Like, I want to see a movie that just explains what the F is going on in that music video, because it's some like weird Mad Max drag queen beautiful disaster that like I am here for. But again, the other option is to go more of that. It's almost like a Sing Street meets what they did with Chicago kind of concept of it's somebody who's like going through their own sort of mundane life. You know, you get a little ordinary world action in there, but within their life, any sort of struggles that they're trying to overcome, you get to go into these, you know, more like fantasy musical sequences where you really dig into the really like pop punk, like synth 80s kind of stuff that Duran Duran has going on. And again, it's another one of those bands that, I mean, we see a little bit in Across the Universe that it's so nice to like transpose some songs that were originally intended for men, for women, particularly when men do have these higher voices, and you get some really fresh, interesting takes on material that people already know and love.
All right, very cool. And for the record, my go-to karaoke song is Hungry Like the Wolf.
Yes! Oh, it's
but
so
I will
good.
not let that affect my judging. DJ.
So musicals are a beautiful film genre that has kind of like fallen to the wayside in recent years. So if you're going to bring it back, you want to do something that is going to interest audience, that maybe is something a little bit different than they're used to, but is stuff that they're listening to and that they care about, and also has a cinematic quality to it. So for me, when I was thinking about those, I was thinking about Arcade Fire, who actually already did do the score for the movie Her, which is a fantastic film score, and their songs tell stories. Their songs have they have a sweeping feel to them. It feels cinematic, and it would bring something interesting to the musical genre that might get people that have already shut that door in their brain to go check out a musical, and it could be anything and everything. It could be an old western. It could be a film set in the future, like Her was. It gives you a lot of different options for telling a story.
All right, DJ with Arcade Fire. Scott MANTZ, back around to you.
Okay, now I'm just going to say for the record, yes, I was going to choose the Beatles because they are my go-to band for everything, but it's been done across the universe, so that's why I'm just wearing the shirt in honor of the question. But my go-to band for a musical is Fleetwood Mac, and here's the beauty of it. The story has already been written because it really happened. You have a movie musical set around the making of Fleetwood Mac's classic, timeless, groundbreaking, big-selling album, Rumors. And here's why the story's already been written, because during the making of that album, Rumors, you had Christine McVie and John McVie were breaking up, or they even broke up by that point. And then you have Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham, who were breaking up by that point. Oh, and also you have Stevie Nicks and Mick Fleetwood having an affair. So you have a movie that is sex. They were doing a lot of drugs, a lot of cocaine, so there's a lot of drugs, and rock and roll, because with classic songs like Go Your Own Way, I Don't Want to Know, Dreams, and then other songs like Landslide, Over My Head, Hold Me, and Gypsy. These are songs that reflect what these people were actually going through, and I even have the cast already picked out. Lindsey Buckingham, played by Bradley Cooper.
All right, let's open it up. Let's open it up. Keep going, but anyone can chime in now.
Okay, Lindsey Buckingham, played by Bradley Cooper. Mick Fleetwood. Mick Fleetwood, played by Christian Bale. John McVie, played by Paul Giamatti. Christine McVie, played by Jennifer Lawrence, and Stevie Nicks.
I'm getting a little bit of a what was that frickin' movie that Christian Bale and Jennifer Lawrence and Amy Adams? Why am I totally
American
drawing
Hustle.
like American Hustle?
Wait.
Getting a little American Hustle vibe from this
Emma
here.
Stone, you ready for this?
Of course, Emma Stone's in it.
Stevie Nicks, Emma Stone.
That's a great cast.
Okay, great. That's a great cast.
Can any of them sing?
Yes, Emma Stone can sing.
Cool, we got one. We got one.
Bring it back to La La Land.
Hey, listen, I like La La Land, so you're not going to get any stats from me.
Baby.
But here's the...
Okay, you go, DJ. You go.
Here's the thing. Again, I think you need something that's gonna. These are great bands. These are fantastic bands. I think you need something that would shake up the formula what people expect, especially if you're looking at like a biopic following a band. That's a very sturdy formula, but it's also a little bit creaky. We've seen it used before. It allows a lot of opportunities just to kind of get lazy with it.
Sure.
And do what we've all seen before. And I think doing something kind of new or a little bit fresher, something that people are still just discovering, like Arcade Fire, affords you an opportunity to make a film that challenges you to do more with the musical genre.
Right, but I also think that, circling back to my choice of Duran Duran, there is this very strong kind of 80s nostalgia that's going on. And I think that can transpose really well into, honestly, and I'm not even saying it's not what we expect from a big movie musical. It is, but that's the beauty of the big movie musical, is you want something that is a little expected, that's over the top. And in this, not only are you hearkening back to the idea of the movie musical, but you're also tapping into that 80s nostalgia, which is why I think that this is something that would definitely be appealing to studios.
I want to hear a little bit from you guys on what your movie would look like. I understand the style and a little bit of the flavor of it, but I wouldn't mind hearing a little bit more because
can I take down the arguments first?
You know what? Anyone can do anything right now.
Take down the arguments. Arcade Fire, great band, love their music, but you know what? I don't see Arcade Fire as being timeless. Like 30 years from now, I don't think the people are going to be like, yeah, man, Arcade Fire. I mean, there might be a little. And Duran Duran, I was born in '68. I grew up with Duran Duran. I love Duran Duran, but there is a nostalgic factor to Duran Duran, which makes them a little too niche.
There's a nostalgic factor to the idea of a movie musical.
But Fleetwood Mac The music is timeless. It's not dated. It's not nostalgic. It is timeless. This is music that everyone, even 30, 40 years after this album came out, people still know the songs, whether they are older in their 70s and 80s or younger in their teens and in their 20s. Everybody knows the songs of Rumors, and that is why a movie based on the music of Fleetwood Mac centered around Rumors would be grounded, it would appeal to everyone, it would be on Broadway forever, and it would be a box office.
I think you're overestimating how many teens listen to Fleetwood Mac.
I would say that as well, and I also say that what you are, and listen, the making of Rumors is a very interesting story.
Yes, it is.
But it is very much rooted in a period piece. The thing that would be about, Hal, you said you wanted to hear more about what I wanted this to be. So it's like, again, it's like you can go one of two ways, but like, honestly, in my brain, this is an over-the-top, glitzy, post-apocalyptic, Mad Max style musical, and this is basically doing right by, so basically there's a musical called We Will Rock You, which is the music of Queen. It's only a stage show, but they kind of screwed it up. So here you have an opportunity with another band that's got like really fun, catchy, over-the-top kind of things, and you have a chance to do it right. On top of that, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the musical Dance of the Vampires, and it is an Austrian musical.
For the record, I am not.
Composer Jim Steinman, who wrote Total Eclipse of the Heart. So basically the sort of concept of that is you watch that Total Eclipse of the Heart music video, you're like, I don't know what's going on, they're in a weird castle. They took it a step further. They're like, you know what, we're just gonna make this crazy vampire musical, and it totally works. So it is a formula that is possible to do.
DJ, do you have any?
I think if you're doing Arcade Fire, a lot of arcade music has been associated with Spike Jonze films, specifically, like I said, Her. And I think something in that tone and that style, I think would really interest people and engage people in a way that, like, if you're not, I think if you heard Duran Duran musical, whether you go or not completely depends on whether you're in Duran Duran or Fleetwood Mac, whereas Arcade Fire might compel people that would normally shut down a musical or they don't necessarily need the association of nostalgia. It's based on the music, because even though the music's great, they're like Duran Duran. Old, you know what I mean? And you could do stuff that is challenging with the music that classic songs that already have, it's the appeal of those songs is already kind of set in stone.
All right, time. Ding, ding. Let's go to Dan Merle on the facts, and then Dan, why don't you stick around and give us your thoughts on the matches?
Rumors was released in February 1977, which makes it just over 41 years old. Hold Me, which is one of the songs that Scott mentioned, was written and released after Rumors, so there would be a little bit of a timeline shift.
Scott Mantz is officially disqualified. I'm kidding.
I justified it.
And I love it. It's kind of like how I feel with the movies of my generation, which is like, that's dated, but mine will last forever. That's how I felt with like Arcade Fire won't last, but Fleetwood Mac is timeless. That's how everyone believes everything that they liked is. Including, for me, so many things, as you all tell me on a daily basis. I hate to say it again, but for me, this was between Scott and Emma. DJ,
I'm not getting Dan today.
I love your choice. I love Arcade Fire, but you kept referring how it was used in other movies, but I still never really got a handle on how you would use it in your movie. So it was between, for me, Scott and Emma, and I felt that Emma painted a much clearer portrait of what her movie was going to be, what the tone of it would be. I had a good idea of it, and it was just more appealing to me than kind of a biopic set to music, so my vote goes to Emma, the Duran Duran musical.
Thanks, Dan. I felt, I see your logic there, but in between Emma and Scott and DJ, I love the newer take on the movie musical, but I didn't quite see the movie come together. And you started to really fill out the world, but I thought Scott had the clearer picture of what his film would be. And it's not my favorite. Fleetwood Mac is my least favorite of these three bands. Shots fired. Wow. But Scott won me over. Scott won me over with the clearest vision. Your vision really started to come through at the end there. And if you made it about a maniac wolf,
Yeah,
And
then you would have just been like, I'm going to
and if you had referenced the lyrics, I smell like a sound.
Sure.
I'm lost.
That's what I
found.
said. It's vague enough that it's applicable to many situations.
But yeah, that being said, gotta go Scott Mantz. So
right.
we're tied again, and we're going to Danielle Radford.
Alrighty, checking the poll right this instant. Another clear winner with Fleetwood Mac at 60%, Duran Duran at 25%, and Arcade Fire at 12%.
I'm shocked. I thought I would have had the kids with that one.
Yeah.
I don't know what I don't know what the kids are doing. The kids are trapping.
Yeah.
The kids are in the trap rock.
I almost
I don't
wanted
know.
to say Donald Glover, but the question was very specifically banned.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to get dinged for that.
What were some other answers they threw out
Some
there?
other answers that we got was a lot of people came out for They Might Be Giants. We got a lot of They Might Be Giants.
That's a good pick. Yeah.
Which could be really, really good.
Good pick. That's a good pick.
And then we have one really fun one. Someone wrote, at Bruce Chris, not Ruth Chris, Bruce Chris wrote, haha, and at Movie Mance is unabashedly pitching Cocaine the Musical.
That's exactly what I'm pitching.
Yeah.
Hey, look, go your own way. And Dan, don't stop thinking about tomorrow.
And other hits. I thought, I don't know, maybe it's just me because I love old school hip hop, but I thought Public Enemy might be really just like unique and fun and like wild and vibrant and a little political and crazy.
Some people wanted to see the Black Parade. A couple people were like, what happened to that Green Day musical?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, American Idiot.
Don't want to be an American idiot. Okay.
That is a real musical.
Yeah.
So
it
we
exists.
are 1-1. MANTZ fight. DJ is
I'm not doing
fighting
so hot today. I'm not doing so hot today, but that's all right. I'm going to come back with this one, I think.
right
I believe
on.
in you, bitch.
Oh, yeah, I think you are, actually.
Okay. Ooh, we got. Yeah, this is a fun one. This is a fun question. Okay. Comcast Universal is making a play to undercut Disney and buy Fox. Pitch a movie that crosses over at least one Fox and one Universal franchise. Ooh, I'm excited. DJ, what you got?
I was a little worried with this one at first because you're not right off the top of your head. It's harder to just rattle off some Universal Fox franchises. But as I looked into it, I think there a clear pattern emerged, and I was hard pressed to find a better movie combination than if you could combine maybe dinosaurs with like zombies and maybe aliens. Wait, that's my comic, chaostheorycomic.com. Anyway, no, what I'm thinking of, what I was thinking would be cool.
Beautiful.
Is we'll talk more about that later.
Yes, please.
Is if you, I thought it'd be really interesting if you crossed Planet of the Apes with Jurassic Park. Imagine the world of Planet of the Apes. Post-apocalyptic, humans are basically wiped out. The apes rule the world. They're colonizing. They're spreading out, and they come to an island. What's on that island? Oh no, the humans were genetically experimenting on creating dinosaurs along with the apes. So now the apes have to deal with prehistoric monsters as their antagonists, as opposed to humans.
Man, that's fun. Okay, up next, back around to Scott Mantz.
I see your Planet of the Apes, and I raise you, okay? Because I'm not just going to take two recent film franchises and put them together. No, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to take one of the best film franchises that hasn't been around since 1989. I'm going to, what if you had a movie called Back to the Future of the Planet of the Apes?
What?
And in this movie, these two apes from 3,000 years into the future named Doc and Marty take an ape-style DeLorean time machine that goes 88 miles per hour.
Wait, so Doc and Marty are apes. And
Doc
this
and
is
Marty are
apes.
Shouldn't it go apey?
They go back in time. They go back in time to the 20th century to see the evolution. They go back in time to see their Jesus, their Caesar, become the first talking ape.
Oh my God.
But in doing so, they're disguised as cops with a mask, so you can't see their faces. No, this could work. And it would be a great story because by going back in time to observe the creation of the apes, they get messed up. They mess up the doctor, James Franco's plans, and he gets arrested. He gets arrested. So now he's not going to be able to create the serum that is going to make Caesar the first talking ape. So now the entire future of the apes, they won't exist at all. So they have to break him out of jail And they have to get him to create the serum that is going to inject Caesar with the serum that will create the Planet of the Apes. So their future will be restored, and the species will be dominant. And it literally is Back to the Future meets Planet of the Apes.
All right, I can't wait to
right.
hear if Caesar gets hit on by his own mom.
All right, listen, I
Emma, talk to
appreciate
us.
all y'all's high fantasy concept, Back to the Future, Planet of the Apes, Jurassic Park kind of things.
Yeah.
Now let me tell you about my movie, Drive Fast and Live Furiously. This is a mashup of course, Die Hard and Fast and the Furious, where you just put all the best badasses in the same movie. Everyone wants a team up of Dominic Toretto and John McClane, and logically it makes a lot of sense because where did we leave Dominic Toretto at the end of Fate of the Furious? It was a whole hullabaloo in Russia. Where was John McClane last time we saw him? Pretty similar situation, and ultimately it ended with both of them reconnecting with their children. These are two franchises. Well, I mean, in Dom's case, reconnecting with a baby as much as you possibly can, but with John McClane, it was reconnecting with Lucy and Jack, which was really important because we were introduced to them in the first film. So John McClane has been on this journey to discover the meaning of family. And what are the Fast and the Furious films about? Family. They drive home that message really, really strong. So this is a movie that's going to start somewhere out on the East Coast, and in it, we're going to have John McClane and Dom Toretto finally encounter one another, probably circa New York City. There's going to be some crazy drug cartel and terrorist action involved, and it's a family road trip movie to get John McClane back to where it all began in LA to reconnect finally with his freaking wife who we haven't seen for 3 goddamn films.
All right. Oh, yeah, fight it out.
No. Okay, you go, DJ. Go ahead.
Here's the thing. One, with you, you're going to get riots in the streets from Back in the Future fans that don't want their franchise ruined. Also, Planet of the Apes has rewound on its own timeline at least twice now in the franchise.
So?
And we've already seen it in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, so we don't need to go back
That's
with
what
the time
makes
travel.
Back to the Future
Also,
perfect, because it's about time travel.
But this is the thing is just to kind of circle back and piggyback off of that, DJ, in terms of what you're saying is I like your idea, Scott. I like it very much as a movie. However, that's not really a crossover. That is a reimagining
It is
of
absolutely
it's
a crossover.
Reimagining of Back to the Future as Planet of the Apes.
It'd be a hilarious Rick and Morty episode.
It'd be a great Rick and Morty
hilarious
episode.
Rick and Morty episode.
I totally agree.
Makes it a perfect crossover because it fits perfectly. You're not meshing them. You're making one movie out of both franchises. You just supported my argument.
It's not.
And here's the thing.
It's not a crossover.
Your movie, listen, that sounds awesome. Apes and dinosaurs together, great.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm going to get after the first 30 minutes? I'm going to get battle fatigue.
Yes.
What's your actual story?
Wait, hold on.
and you're
Hold
also,
on.
Spectacle.
and again, you're also
There's no heart. There's no fun.
Yes.
There's no humor.
And you're
going
to be watching a video game ultimately.
Yes.
It's going to be the same kind of situation that we encountered in the
Have
first
you guys-
Peter Jackson King Kong
Wait,
movie.
have you seen any of Planet of the Apes?
Yes,
movies
and
recently?
I
here's the
love the
thing.
Planet of the
No,
Apes
the
movies.
Planet of the Apes movies are great. And here's my thing. That is exactly why you should not cross over Planet of the Apes with Jurassic Park, because Planet of the Apes has reached this incredible apex. As you say, they've reset their timeline a few times. They finally figured it out. Jurassic Park, the reason that those movies have gotten worse and worse as we're going on is because it's gotten away from what those movies are about, which is humans going too far. The humans keep going too far and making the same freaking mistake.
But this is about humans going too far. The humans going too far in
Right.
two different movies colliding.
Sure,
These are
hang on.
the only
Hang on.
franchises here that you have permutations in there. They're not the one story. There's multiple versions of the Jurassic Park story. There's multiple versions of the Planet of the Apes story. So people would enjoy getting them together. One of the issues with yours, with Die Hard and Fast and the Furious, is to make a good Fast and Furious movie, you're going to make one of the worst Die Hard movies, because the bigger, bolder, crazier the action gets in a Die Hard movie, the further it gets away from the first Die Hard, the less interesting John McClane is. But that's exactly what makes the Fast and Furious movies great, is when they go bigger and crazier. So you're going to have either a bad Fast and Furious movie or a bad Die Hard movie.
See, I
agree
disagree.
completely. I agree
disagree. They're
completely.
gonna
I
meet
would have said
somewhere
the
in the
same
middle.
thing, but you beat me to it. Now here's the thing. Okay, now your idea. Listen, that sounds awesome and it's expected. Your idea, I don't see them working. See, the Planet of the Apes was a time travel story. The original Planet of the Apes was a time travel story. He goes 2,000 years into the future and he's really on Earth the whole time. You're bringing the time element back because the last 3 films, which are all brilliant, the last 3 Apes movies, it's like the greatest film trilogy of all time because they're all great. So now you have a chance to mesh Planet of the Apes with the time travel story, which is where it all started. Hang on, and you're going to have a fish out of water story with the apes in the 20th century.
Listen, you're not going to make Back to the
It's
Future
gonna be
fans
fun.
happy or Planet of the Apes
Wait a minute,
happy.
It's
Yeah,
going to be
it's-
fun. You're going to have a lot of heart because of the friendship between Doc and Marty. And here's the thing: the apes movies have always been about how you're kind of rooting for the apes. And here you are, you have a chance to set the future right by having the humans dominant and the apes never existing. But you want Doc and Marty to succeed because you want there to be a planet of the apes.
But again, it's still a Rick and Morty episode. Like the Doc and Marty of this are a different Doc and Marty than we know.
Allegory. It's allegory.
Yeah,
the
but
best
that's not
allegories,
a crossover.
The best allegories are the movies that make you really think. On the surface, it seems kind of like, well, that's a little funny and maybe silly. But wait a minute, there's actually something here. Why we have a chance to like set things right and have the apes not be dominant? But you know what? I'm rooting for the apes to win. I want Doc and Marty.
Are you rooting for the apes to win in
apes
DJ's
to win.
movie? Because here's the thing: is you take away the danger of Jurassic Park and the interest of Planet of the Apes when you take the human beings out of it. Again, I am coming at two franchises here, both of which in their most recent installments have definitely not been their best. So here you have an opportunity to kind of have them meet somewhere in the middle, which ultimately is going to boost both franchises.
But by doing that, you're bringing out the worst of both franchises.
No, I disagree.
Caesar and Maurice are always the best parts of those movies. There's deep humanity in them. Whenever the humans come on, they're always an add-on. This is an opportunity to see apes like that deal with the threat that they haven't faced before. And who wouldn't want to see a character like Koba riding a T-Rex and having Caesar and Maurice try and figure out how to solve that problem?
No. Cool, but there's not going to be any feeling.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
In the new Planet of the Apes.
You're
Have you ever heard of battle fatigue?
You're losing the humanity by taking the humans out of it. So much of what's good about the Planet of the Apes movies is this relationship between the humans and the apes and their similarities. You're taking them out.
You could completely
You're having them fight dinosaurs. Who
You could take the
cares?
human. Actually, I would argue all three of the most recent Planet of the Apes movies would be better if you took the humans out and just focused on the apes.
Well, listen,
that's where the humanity lies in those movies.
I agree. Listen, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is the best of the series, only by a thread because, like I said, they're all great. But again, you're taking with the Back to the Future element, you're bringing in the heart and the humor, and with the Planet of the Apes element, you have a jailbreak. It's a race against time for them to restore. Like you want the apes to succeed in all three films. You were rooting for the apes.
All right, less than a minute left.
Listen, I understand, great, high concept, fun. If you take two movies that are purely about basically superheroes from whom you don't have to buy any unbelievable backstory, just badass humans who are capable of incredible feats, you're putting them together. You have two movies that are you have two franchises that have struggled a little bit in their latest installments, and then you're matching them together. And on top of that, you are now adding to Die Hard, again, a little bit of some much needed diversity that we see in the Fast and the Furious films, and you are having two characters meet somewhere in the middle who can learn from each other. You have John McClane who can learn from Dom Toretto's feelings about family, and also Dom Toretto able to learn from John McClane, like as sort of a warning of like, hey, don't screw things up. You got it. You're on the right path. Just keep going. Yeah, that's there. But that is the journey.
Listen,
that is the journey is to get them to meet in the middle.
The beauty of a crossover is to see things that you love interact in an interesting way. And I think the ones that would be the most interesting for audiences would be seeing something like Jurassic Park and Planet of the Apes. And I think the argument that there wouldn't be humanity there sounds like it would be coming from people that haven't seen the most recent Planet of the Apes.
Time. All right. Dan Murrell, what's going on with the factualities?
Wow.
Again, mainly factual. I can't fact check Monkey Rick and Morty. So,
it'd be a great Rick and Morty episode.
Yeah,
it would be a really good
I
Rick
would
and
watch
Morty
the hell out
It'd
of
be
it.
a great movie.
Yeah, once again, really just listening to each argument and making up my mind, which I believe I have, although I changed it many times.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, Scott, I feel like they knocked you out with the Rick and Morty stuff. This feels like these characters just in a different dimension, and quite frankly, you didn't sell me, and I didn't care for your idea. But I love you, Dad. I love you. It was just so weird. I don't know.
Weird is good.
Weird is good. Weird is good. It can be good.
Weird
I like
is
weird.
different.
Austin, stay weird. Okay, but so it came down to DJ and Emma for me.
I'm finally in the running this time.
And Emma, by the way, you gave us the understatement of the year when you said the last Die Hard franchise made the franchise struggle.
Yeah, struggled a lot.
And
Deep Cut, the remembering was in Russia.
Yes.
That was a good callback.
But you posed a compelling story, and you connected Bruce Willis to those other characters, and you didn't even mention that he shares the trait of baldness with the entire cast.
With the entire cast of Fast and Furious.
But DJ presented a strong argument, and he was right. There is some sort of connective tissue with that connects us to these apes and what they do in those films that makes them compelling characters. So the lack of humanity, I felt, was properly defended by DJ, and he painted a picture of an action-packed, fun ride. So I'm going with DJ on
I got
this
one, kids.
Wow.
Dan Merle.
You know, I was never seriously considering Scott's idea.
Listen, I've been
Gotta
there.
be honest. Somehow managed to retroactively kill both of those franchises. So it was between Emma and DJ for me, and you know, I was leaning toward Emma, and then DJ said something that really reframed my opinion. Was when he said, Die Hard's at its best when it's gritty and real, and our complaints about that have been that it was too cartoonish. And Fast and the Furious is at its best when it's cartoonish, and it was worse when it was gritty and real. And if you combine these two, you're going to get a bad movie for either one of those franchises because they don't mesh. And I thought that was a great point. I thought that he fought back against Scott, saying that the apes were the most human part of those new movies, and you could take the humans out, and you would have even more humanity in it. Strangely for me, the least ridiculous, most grounded option was the talking apes meeting the clone dinosaurs, and I'm also going with DJ.
Right on. DJ takes the
I just want to
point.
say one thing.
I
just want to say one thing. If Doc and Marty don't set the timeline right, the apes are never going to be on the island with the dinosaurs.
Actually, you know what? That helps us out. It's humanity.
All right.
Make them both.
Sorry, Scott. That DeLorean will never fly. Danielle, what's everybody saying?
Okay, well, for one thing, we did get some great dank memes. Someone did almost immediately made Caesar on a raptor.
Yes,
Great.
thank you.
Almost immediately, and it is as beautiful as you would like it to be.
Ooh, I like it.
We also got someone saying, imagine Dom stumbling across an alien hive and saying, it looks like a family. Fast versus aliens in space. So those were some of the a quick taste of some of the dank memes that we got. But the audience poll, they were firmly with apes in Jurassic Park with 67%. Apes.
It didn't matter what the argument was.
Yeah. Die Hard versus Fast and Furious got 18%, and apes and Back to the Future got 13%. I want to go ahead and say right now, I will see all of those movies.
Thank you.
I was like, as soon as you guys started talking, I was like, I can't do this. I can't. I'm but I held it together.
Thank you, Danielle. And yes, I would see all of those movies except for the one Scott picked.
That's heavy, Doc.
Okay, something crazy has happened. Man. We are tied 1-1-1. That means tiebreaker. All right. So here is the question. You're going to pick a movie out of this hat that I'm going to get down here. Grab. Oh, they're on post-it notes, and the post-it notes are stuck together. All right. Now,
Live television.
Go ahead and pick.
Okay. What could mine be? Let it be Wrath of
All
Khan.
right, the question is...
Citizen Kane.
What's... so don't reveal your answer until we come to you. What is the... Everybody look at... You can look at it, though. What is the best Jurassic Park sequel? What is the best Jurassic Park sequel? All right? Everybody got one. Everybody got one. So you will each have 20 seconds... We're going to start with Scott. You will each have 20 seconds to defend why the movie you got is the best Jurassic Park sequel. Scott Mantz.
Here we go. The reason why 1997's The Lost World is the best sequel for Jurassic Park is because of the T-Rex in San Diego. That was so cool to see a T-Rex on the mainland, to see T-Rex really...
Time. All right, Emma.
See, I'm going to go ahead and argue that the best Jurassic Park sequel is Jurassic World because it was a reintroduction of the franchise. It was Jurassic World for a new era. You have a great young star in Chris Pratt. You have the heightened reality of the dinosaurs that are now even more man-made and enhanced. And on top of that, again, you are introducing Jurassic Park to a new generation of people, and you're like, you know what, those old movies happened, but now we're going to do it again.
Time. All right. DJ.
Screw both of you. I'm going to argue that Jurassic Park 3 is the best Jurassic Park movie because Sam Neill's back, and he was the best part of the first Jurassic Park film. And also, they're back on the island that we love, and they introduce new, interesting dinosaurs that don't need to be genetically engineered to be interesting, like the Spinosaurus. And it was a fun, action-packed film about the idea of being stuck on that island alone, which is what we love about the first Jurassic Park.
All right, time. Okay, so the way this will work, worst answer is going to be eliminated. Worst answer will be eliminated. Let's start with Danielle. Danielle, go ahead and pick. Who's the worst?
You are the dirt worst. All of these arguments were as good as y'all could make them. I have to say, dinosaurs on the mainland, I didn't feel was argued well enough. I am sorry, Scott.
Okay, that's one against Scott. By the way, if we all tied and pick one person, we don't have an extra tiebreaker, so this show will just implode. Dan.
I must concur with my fellow Dan. Agree or disagree, I felt both DJ and Emma had many varying reasons for why their sequels were superior, and I only heard one thing from Scott, which was that there was a T-Rex on the mainland.
Dinos on the mainland.
Which was not quite enough to overwhelm the other two, so I also have to go with DJ and Emma and have to eliminate Scott.
Scott Mantz, thanks for shopping, buddy.
Done for.
Wow.
Good job, Scott.
I don't know. I should have said Spielberg.
Well,
Would've been
We're
good.
all
That would've
given
been-
the
yeah.
sequels.
Scott, the landslide brought you down.
Bring it back to Spielberg. I thought you hated
Yeah, and
Spielberg.
that didn't. I like the Smashing Pumpkins cover of that song. Okay, so. Going to the speed round, it's going to be DJ versus Emma. Real quick, before we jump right into the speed round, I just want to thank everybody who was here, everyone who put it together. Last week's Movie Fights Women in Film event was off the charts. And everyone behind the scenes here at Screen Junkies, everyone from around the internet, and all of our friends that came, and you who clicked in and who donated and brought us so much goodwill and money for a great cause. And if you are a donor and submitted a question, we are going to start using your Movie Fights questions next week. Thank you. I salute you. All right, let's jump into the speed round.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't think I was going to make it here.
Don't worry.
Just on the beginning.
Now it's anybody's game. Okay, so again, you are tied 1-1. The first player to reach 4 points wins. I will ask a question. First person to speak will then have the chance to answer first. 20 seconds, 20 seconds, and then 10 seconds, 10 seconds as far as rebuttals. Danielle will be chiming in with her own opinions, no longer being the conduit of the people, because there just ain't time in the speed round.
We love you, though.
Yep, true that. Okay, here is the first question of the speed round. Best movie featuring Melissa McCarthy in any role?
Bridesmaids. Oh, no. They're not. Are they both in Bridesmaids? I can't remember.
Best movie featuring Melissa McCarthy
Oh, in any role. I heard
role.
Annie Roll. I was like, who's Annie Roll? I'm going with Bridesmaids.
Okay.
Spy.
All right, we got Bridesmaids and Spy. Emma, you spoke first, so 20 seconds begins when you speak now.
Listen, this is the thing, is yes, Melissa McCarthy has had a lot of really fabulous film roles, but the role that really introduced her and established her as a powerhouse player in the world of comedy was the movie Bridesmaids. In it, we see a character who is incredibly human and flawed and just happy with who she is. She makes no apologies about who she is. That scene where she takes all the puppies is priceless because, let's be real, if you showed up to a bridal shower full of puppies, you would want to take all those puppies.
Time. All right. DJ.
Bridesmaids was her coming out, but I think her best film has to be Spy because not only is it a great role for her that really plays up her talent for physical comedy, but it is a great lampoon of a genre that we've seen before and a cool take on it with a protagonist that we don't normally see in Melissa McCarthy that really plays up her skills and abilities in a perfect way.
TikTok?
Yeah.
Time. All right. Rebuttal.
Listen, I agree that Spy is a fantastic film, but if you're talking about things that are lampooning a genre, we see that in Bridesmaids. Bridesmaids is lampooning that male buddy comedy kind of genre, and without Melissa McCarthy, the movie simply doesn't work.
Bridesmaid is an ensemble. She's a good part of it, but she's not the only one. There's Kristen Wiig. There's a bunch of other actresses in there that are great. Spy is solely focused on her and her ability. In fact, Jason Statham is her sporting man. It is her movie.
Time. Okay, good stuff, you two. Yeah, tough choices here. Let's start with Dan Merle.
Very good arguments on both sides, but I have to say, ultimately, DJ swayed me more for this one.
Boom. One for DJ. Danielle Radford.
I have to agree. As much as I would want to take those puppies, pointing out the difference between a starring role and an ensemble was really what got me. So I got to go with DJ.
DJ, you got the point. It's 2-1, DJ.
I said Bridesmaids and immediately went, I wish I picked Spy.
Fun fact, I haven't seen Spy.
But you know what?
It's a good movie.
I haven't seen Spy, but I heard it's great.
You know what, Denny? If you would have said that Melissa McCarthy was nominated for an Oscar for Bridesmaids, you would have had it.
Perhaps, but the question was best movie featuring Melissa McCarthy, not best Melissa McCarthy movie. Now we're getting into semantics. We digress. Let us move on. Question number 2 of the speed round. With George Carlin sadly gone, what stand-up comedian should be the new Rufus in Bill and Ted 3?
Oh.
What stand-up comedian should be the new Rufus in Bill and Ted 3? Ooh, I know who I'd pick.
I'm gonna say... I know who okay, I'll say Aziz Ansari.
Okay.
A lot of the stand-up comedians I used to follow are not, we found out recently, are not good people.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Donald Glover because he's done stand-up.
Okay. We have Aziz versus Glover. Emma, you spoke first.
Yeah, listen, I know there's a little controversy there. There's no room for nuance in this world anymore. What can I say? And I understand. But Aziz Ansari, I mean, if you look at his track record as a character performer, so much of, particularly in his performance in things like Parks and Recreation, really created this character that you believe is kind of this like sniveling little sidekick kind of character. And it's a kind of role that Aziz Ansari is incredibly capable of carrying off.
We've seen in Atlanta that Donald Glover has huge range as a comedic performer, and he's able to disappear into a role. And anytime you can give him something outside of the box, if you've seen Teddy Perkins on Atlanta, he becomes a completely different character, unrecognizable. And I think he would really excel in a role like this that allows him to play something completely different than we're used to him doing.
Yeah. But I feel like some of what we would be looking for is a character that is really going to bring a lot of their own personal style to it, which isn't to say that Donald Glover doesn't have his, but as you say, he is somebody that really melds into a role, as I think that Aziz Ansari would really make this role his own.
Donald Glover is a creative force, and he would be able to add something really interesting and dynamic to it, and also he'd be able to make a dope song to go with the movie, which would be a great addition that even George Carlin was not able to provide.
Time. All right. Wow. Interesting answers here. By the way, the correct answer would have been Dave Chappelle.
I would have said Amy Schumer.
Perhaps. But based on these choices and these arguments, I got to go with Emma on this one. Her rebuttal really sold me with the personal style that Aziz has. Whereas, Donald Glover, he could do a lot of stuff, and he often, he doesn't do any wrong. But I think she swayed me with Aziz. Let's go to Danielle Radford.
I have to agree with you in that what really sold it for me was when he said that Glover is a creative force and could make a song. Those are both true. It's not the job of an actor to be creative or to make a song. It's to make choices. It's not to actually make the movie. And then so when she said own personal style and make it his own, to me that sold it more.
Bam. Okay, Emma, you got the point. We are locked up at 2-2.
Dissenting opinion. I dissent.
The dance dissent. Dissenting dance.
That's allowed.
Strongly.
Okay, noted for the record. Great. We are locked up at 2-2. This is a good one. All right. Question numero tres. By the way, I want to see other people's answers to that comedian question. That'd be a fun one. That's a fun one. Okay, number 3. What's the best Guy Ritchie movie?
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Lock, Stock from DJ?
Oh, God. I cannot think of any Guy Ritchie movies at all. I legitimately need somebody to help me out. I cannot think of any.
Sherlock, King Arthur.
Oh, yeah, I'll go Sherlock.
Very generous of DJ to help his opponent.
Thank you. My brain is just
that was a great
That's why I
moment.
said sorry.
Very selfless of you.
A great moment in sportsmanship. Okay.
That was what I was trying to come up with. Yeah.
I would have said the movie starring Madonna that he directed. Okay.
Right, that's what I was thinking, but I couldn't come up with it.
Yeah.
Rock and Rolla?
No. Okay, DJ, you spoke first for Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
I believe,
Swept away.
Dan will correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that was his first movie that was kind of his coming out party. And like a lot of directors with a intense style, that is kind of the patient zero, the kind of the best reflection of what he does well. It was also kind of a coming out for Jason Statham and a great use of his skills and a showcase of him not just as an action performer, but as a great actor, and Guy Ritchie brought that out of him.
Okay. I would argue that Sherlock actually is Guy Ritchie's best movie because it shows his ability to adapt a source material that was potentially stale and do it justice while without completely straying from it. I expected Sherlock to come in and it was going to be this big action adventure fiasco, but it wasn't. There was a lot of nuance to it. Sherlock was still very much the same sort of neurotic, obsessive compulsive kind of character that we know him to be from Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Guy Ritchie's a director that's kind of developed becoming more style over substance. Lock, Stock is a great example of a combination of style and substance. The style that was there in the future is there, but there's also a core solid crime movie.
See, I disagree. In Sherlock Holmes, you get plenty of substance because he is drawing from this source material that has a whole bunch of substance, and he makes it serve a film that was still very much his own vision and not simply just a rehash of what was written in Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's novels.
Time. Emma, a little extracurricular talk. Okay.
It's because I keep trying to say Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Sure thing. Okay, let's go to Dan Merle.
DJ, I believe, made the more compelling case. Not only in genre, but in style, in substance, cast. I think that DJ made the better argument, and I give him a little extra bonus point for being a
Selfless,
generous competitor.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. Rarely seen in these.
I wouldn't have given her
circles.
shit. So.
Yeah.
It took me a second to think about Guy Ritchie films, so I felt bad.
I was like,
wait a
Guy
second.
Ritchie, and then as soon as you said it, I was like, oh no, I knew that.
1-0 DJ. Danielle.
You're going with me next?
Oh, yes, I am.
Okay, tight. I hate this. I keep going second and agreeing with the person who said first, but I have to go with DJ on this one. What really got me is the style and substance crime movie, and his arguments were really about why this was Guy Ritchie's movie, and it was a good Guy Ritchie movie. I loved your arguments, but when it came down to him being able to adapt source material, it's not really all of like a Guy Ritchie movie. So that's.
Thank you, Danielle. Okay, it is 3-2 DJ. If DJ takes this point, he wins. Emma,
right.
you need it to tie. You need it to tie. Question number 4, the speed round. What's Peter Jackson's best movie that's not set in Middle Earth?
Oh,
King Kong.
Darn it.
King Kong? Peter Jackson's best movie not set in Middle Earth.
I'm real bad at who directed what movie, guys. This is why I don't compete in the Schmodown, is because I'm really terrible. Oh, God.
5.
What's that, the freaking puppet movie he did? Meet the Feebles. Yep, let's do Meet the Feebles. Why not?
We have King Kong versus Meet the Feebles. And DJ spoke first. 20 seconds begin when you speak now.
King Kong represents Peter Jackson at the height of his power. He's coming right out of Lord of the Rings, and he takes all the lessons he learned from that and takes an all-time film classic and is able to make his spin on it. And again, always a challenge, making you care about Kong and the people around him as well, and makes a sweeping, epic, interesting, engaging movie that can't stand alongside the original.
Disagree. King Kong is a video game. Half of the movie is just watching CGI monkeys fight CGI dinosaurs. You want some real deal? Watch Meet the Feebles. It is an effed up puppet movie. Like, if you ever wanted to see like the Muppet, it's a very bold choice. It's basically taking like Muppet type characters and putting them in this really real, gritty, real world situation. You've got hookers, you've got Muppets doing drugs. It is, and ultimately it's all practical effects.
Meet the Feebles is a big old splatterfest. It's him just having fun, which is great, but it's not him being able to layer his characters, layer his story, the effects he's able to do with Weta that he was able to do with Lord of the Rings that show up in Kong.
Yeah, you're seeing what Peter Jackson can do with money. Meet the Feebles is what Peter Jackson can do without money. That is what got him the job to do Lord of the Rings. It was certainly a big component of it. Without it, Peter Jackson wouldn't be the filmmaker he is today.
Boom. All right.
wow.
Yeah, Emma, I thought you slayed that one. I give a point to Emma. Dan. All right, we're all tied up.
I should have said Frighteners.
Frighteners.
I said King Kong, I'm like, damn it, Frighteners.
Emma, you have tied it up. This is a great moment in sports. This is for the game.
Okay.
Final question: who should replace Billy Bob Thornton and Kyle Chandler as the new Friday Night Lights coach? Who should replace Billy Bob Thornton and Kyle Chandler as the new Friday Night Lights coach?
What are they doing?
I will go Bradley Whitford.
Milo Ventimiglia from This Is Us. I probably said his name wrong. That's why I specified.
Sure, Milo from This Is Us and Heroes versus Bradley Whitford, The West Wing.
Yes.
Okay, Emma, you're up first.
So Bradley Whitford is a character he's a person who we've seen have an incredible career in television. He has this incredible ability to bring this real depth to a character. And with a character like the coach in Friday Night Lights, you need somebody who can be both a hard ass and yet have that underlying softness to them and really be a dad that is multifaceted, much like we saw a little bit in Get Out, where you really believed that he was this good person.
Time. The bell means stop talking.
I know, sorry.
The coach of Friday Night Lights is supposed to be everybody's dad, and Milo has emphasized that in This Is Us. He's become everybody's dad in that show, and he's able to take that skill set to this, and he can also be a hard ass because he was able to play those layers in Heroes as well about being a tougher character, but it's really those dad chops that he showed in This Is Us that I think would translate really well to a Friday Night Lights movie.
But I think that Milo Ventimiglia has been pushed into that role by This Is Us. I would argue that it's the This Is Us writers that have made him do that, whereas Bradley Whitford, he has a track record of being dad characters, of being in charge of his roles on
time. Wow. Okay. How about it?
Doesn't he get a
sorry.
rebuttal?
Yes.
Yep,
My bad. DJ.
If I've already won, no.
Yeah.
What's the name of your guy again?
Bradley
Whitford. Bradley Whitford has done a series of these roles, but I don't think he is the iconic. He kind of disappears into the movies he's in. He's never really a standout, whereas Milo is one of the stars of this show. He is one people are talking about.
Time. All right. DJ had it for me with his initial Milo argument, and it wasn't overcome by Emma. So I go one for DJ. Danielle.
This was really difficult because I could easily see either of these guys in this role. I would say that what pushed me over to Emma's was when she mentioned that Milo, it's the writing, and so we don't know if that's going to be something he can carry over if it isn't the same team of writers, so I have to go with Emma.
We're locked at 1-1. Dan Merle, you decide the whole ball of wax.
But I feel like it's always the writing, isn't it? I mean, it's the writing for Bradley Whitford too, right? And and Emma even mentioned that in her argument that the importance of being a coach is everyone's dad, and then that was the entire crux of DJ's argument. So I feel like DJ kind of used Emma's point and doubled down on it. So I have to go with DJ, I think.
DJ Woolridge, you saved the day.
Sterling K. Brown.
Oh, Sterling K. Brown.
Great answer.
Heck yes, that would have been a great answer.
Man.
But your answer was good enough to take the. Wow, what a fight! Let's all you guys.
Good fight.
Came in from the bottom.
And now you're here.
Now I'm here.
Yup, yeah, you didn't even have a point. You caught up. You overcame the odds. DJ, talk to us. Tell us about. You were plugging something earlier in the middle of a round, which was weird that JTE had that on deck for you.
Listen, if you like my pitch of Planet of the Apes meets Jurassic Park, I'll give you something even better. What if zombies had to fight with giant dinosaurs? Science gone wrong. If you're worried about the humanity, like their argument, we have three primary characters that have struggled. They're very human. One's a recent mom. And it's just, I wanted to make a comic book. This is my comic book, chaostheorycomic.com, and I wanted to put everything I've ever wanted to see in a comic book into my own book, and you can find it all here. So it's not only zombies and dinosaurs, but there's aliens. Every issue is 5 issues, 100 pages. Every issue is like its own big budget blockbuster film that you would probably hear argued on this set. For Screen Junkies watchers, if you go and you contribute $25 or up, because that's where you get a physical thing that I send to you, I'll throw in, and you say you can go to the comment section on the Kickstarter page and say, hey, I'm from Screen Junkies. I will throw in a postcard map of the United States in this world, because there's a ton of backstory I wasn't able to fit in the comic, and the United States has gone through a lot in this world. If you saw the picture up there, Florida's not quite there anymore. California's kind of off of its own. So it's not, if you're excited about zombies and dinosaurs, I've got all that, but it's got aliens, it's got action, it's got adventure, it's got heart. There's something in there
Back to the
for
Future
everybody.
Planet of the Apes.
Hey, listen, it fit right in. You know, like if you're a fan of Back to the Future, I got something in there for you.
Are there any mech suits in there?
Yeah.
I got something for you.
Okay.
And surprisingly, it all works. It all kind of one idea feeds into another. It wasn't just me jamming stuff together at all, because the original idea that occurred to me is at the end of the Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead remake, they sail to an uncharted island.
Yep.
Yes.
And in my brain I was like, well, what if that was the Jurassic Park island?
Whoa.
And then I was like, that's silly. But the more I thought about it, I was like, it's actually kind of badass.
Yeah.
And so I made this.
It sounds ridiculously cool. That's awesome. And go ahead and plug your podcast as well.
Only Stupid Answers. You can only go to onlystupidanswers.com. We just had our 100th episode. We did a big live event for it. So
Congrats.
Monday's episode will be the live event. It's me and Sam Basher, and also Steve Zaragoza and Mike Falzone from Dynamic Banter, and Maude Garrett, and Roxy Stryer, who you know from TV Fights. She was there with us. So Monday is our 100th episode, so check that out. And you can find it at onlystupidanswers.com, and that has all the places you can listen on all our social media.
Nicely done, and your comic sounds awesome.
Thank
and
you.
congrats on the victory,
Yes.
brother.
Thank
Back
you.
on Scott Mantz. Scott Mantz, do you want to plug something? Do you want to just regale us with something?
Just follow me on Twitter at MovieMants.
Oh,
Nice and easy. Just follow me on Twitter.
You know what? I'll have to make this up
Follow
to you
me on Instagram.
Friday.
Actually, if you go to Fathom Events, things in
Yes.
theaters,
Yeah.
I actually introduce all the events for Fathom Events in
Hell
theaters.
yeah.
I saw
So
you
you can
introducing a
see-
Fathom events the last time I went to one.
You can
Hell
see
yeah.
Mantz on the big screen.
There it is, guys.
Fathom
go
that.
go
All
see
right.
Mantz at your local movie theater.
Scott,
great.
always a pleasure to have you
Thanks,
right
Dad.
here. And, Emma Fife,
Yes.
you really brought it. You came
Thank
up
you.
just a little bit short today.
I know. And Danielle was on my side in the end, so you know what? I consider it a gracious loss, and DJ did help me out, so
Right
it's only
on.
fair that he won.
Tell us where to find you.
I can be found all over the internet, wherever Emma Fifes are sold, at my name, Emma Fife, EMMAFYFFE. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. You can see me on the Schmodown, calling matches, managing the best faction in the league, Go Fife Club. I also can be found every Wednesday over on twitch.tv/HyperRPG. That is HyperRPG on Twitch, 8:00 p.m., doing Pencils and Parsecs, which is a Star Wars RPG. It is crazy. Our last episode was a real, mashup of Star Wars meets Aliens and also kind of Resident Evil. It was freaking awesome.
Whoa.
So you guys should
People
totally
love
check it
mashups.
out.
Good times. Thanks,
Yeah.
Emma. Good work. Dan Merle.
Hello, yes. And you want to know how much Scott Mantz knows about Star Trek? I saw him at one of these Fathom Events things. It was a video interview with William Shatner, and William Shatner tells a story about the making of Star Trek II. That Scott then corrects him and says, no, that was during the making of Star Trek 3.
Yes,
He
I
knows more about
saw
Star
that
Trek than
before.
Captain Kirk. That's how much Scott Mantz knows Star Trek.
Wow.
Amazing.
It's awesome. I'm here.
All right, Dan. Always,
You're all Dan on Twitter.
always great to have you holding it down and keeping us factually accurate. Danielle Radford. What up?
As per usual, you can find me at Danielle Radford wherever you get your social medias. On Instagram, I am Danielle_Radford. I'm just trying to get to that 10K so I can start getting those fat girl sponsorships. I need some clothes. I need some tights. I need more dresses. Help a girl out.
Follow
me
Danielle.
on Insta. I went to space in a thing yesterday. You can see some BTS and actually.
You went to space yesterday?
I went to space yesterday.
Wow.
I got to be I got to play astronaut, and it was really cool.
More about that on your social medias, yeah?
On social medias.
Yeah, and hit me up on my social medias at Hal Rudnick, Twitter, Instagram. Thank you for watching, and please tune in next week. We're going to start using those donors' questions. Thanks again for everybody with Women in Film, and thanks for the good times today. And Billy Biz, JTE, and Joe Starr, your giggle in the background always is wind beneath my wing. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.